Hey, Mrparka here to review a new one from Wild Eye Films, and this is by Anthony Catanese. This is Sodomaniac. Yeah, check out that title, guys. I was actually pleasantly surprised. With a title like Sodomaniac, I really didn't know what to expect. I figured something gross or crazy, but I kind of was hoping for something kind of silly and horror comedy oriented and that kind of deal. Essentially, what we have here is a group of date rapists, misogynistic kind of pieces of crap frat boys, really immature, who rape and drug and rape women. Uh, Soon enough, the group is starting to get picked off, and the killer is wearing a butt mask and he is sodomizing them to death. Yes, so it's ridiculous, over the top, and also very gross, but at the same time, very funny. And you have to admit that these kind of characters kind of deserve it. And usually, when these movies are played in a more serious tone, you can't really spend that much time with a lot of really despicable, crappy characters and like them. But these guys actually, although they are despicable, they are funny because they are so pathetic in a lot of ways, and they're actually pretty good actors for the most part. So yeah, essentially what we have here is a lot of party scenes, lots of crazy lighting, lots of blues and pinks and stuff like that. Definitely heavily inspired by Italian cinema. So there's that going for it, which I absolutely love. My number one favorite thing about this movie, besides actually the general ridiculousness of it, is the camera work. The camera work's great. There's lots of I always feel this way about independent films. You don't have to leave it on a tripod, but sometimes people can do that very well. They want that professional look. For me, I like the opposite. I like when people get crazy with the cameras and kind of just run around the room, do weird things with it. And this movie does a lot of stuff, ambitious stuff for independent film, which I think is really cool. Yeah, you can. They get into this a lot in the commentaries around the disc. There's two commentaries on the disc, as well as there's a couple short films on the disc. One of which is a nun kind of exploitation thing. It's like a 5 minute trailer teaser thing. Absolutely hilarious. Kind of reminded me of something in the vein of Richard Griffin, who I also love, who's an independent director, and a mime kind of interesting killer who's a mime whose shadows are doing all the work. Those are the shorts and the commentaries on the disc, some outtakes. But anyways, the commentaries go in depth about the process of the indie film and how what they like to do and why they did what they did and how long it took them to accomplish it. And also, they have some fun laughs on there as well. I felt this stuff was kind of interesting, and it also is helpful for independent filmmakers that are starting out. So yeah, I enjoyed watching that, listening to that as well. But yeah, I think people will enjoy this film if you have kind of a gross sense of humor. Not as gross as something like the Terror Optics guy with Attack of the Cockface Killer. Now we got a cockface killer and a buttface killer. Maybe they should meet. But yeah, so it's not as gross as something like that, but it's definitely gross. I actually like I said, usually when I watch these movies and I have all these despicable characters, I'm like, man, I just want this to be over. I don't want to watch all these horrible people die. But this one, it had a lot of comedy layers to it, and almost everybody in the film is despicable. But there is a a revenge element to it. It is a slasher film and a rape revenge film all in the same, which I kind of enjoy those kind of aspects. It feels like modern day exploitation comedy style for sure. Like I said, great lighting, super ambitious for what it is. There's a attempt at a oneer in the beginning, which I gotta give a shout out for. I mean, I gotta give some love for because that looked very difficult. Uh, like I said, yeah, I'd actually wonder if there's a Blu-ray release of this because I'd like to see it with all the bright colors. But regardless, yeah, this is a really cool movie. Sodomaniac. If you guys are big into slashers or horror comedies, it's kind of a must. If you if you could, it's not as graphic as it might sound, but there is some pretty gross scenes. The opening scene of the film actually is probably the most graphic, and when you find out how they did it, I got to give them respect again. Because I thought it was something much more complex than that. But yeah, Sodomaniac. I actually watched it and then watched it with both commentaries and everything I could watch on it. Really enjoyed this one. It's a nice release from Wild Eye. Yeah, I think that most people will really enjoy this one. This was actually probably one of the most surprising movies I saw this year. Absolutely hilarious in one way, and I actually think the people deserve what they got in the movie on another hand. But yeah, I feel the same way that the director and the filmmakers do about this. I think that independent film should be, ambitious and pushing boundaries on certain elements of how you make it. I mean, you're not answering to anybody but yourself. So you can do what you want. You can do crazy camera angles. You can try different things. You can push boundaries on, not just the story, everything. And I enjoy that. Like I said, lots of cool angles in here and lots of cool inspirations in here. There's a shout out to Suspiria in here due to the lighting. So yeah, also lots of pornographic stuff in the background here. But yeah, some people may find it offensive for certain characters, but yeah, I don't think you should. I think that it's all done in kind of a this kind of style, and I think people that are used to this stuff will get a really good kick out of it. But I'm Mr. Parka, that is Sodomaniac. Yeah, this one's really cool. Have a good one.
Let's get it in, son. If I see some ladies tonight, then they'll be eating these babies. Whoa!
Looks like what we're dealing with here is some kind of sodomaniac.